yesterday at Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Wow.
Nebraska takes a 7-point halftime lead, 31-24. It dissipates in the second half. They're down by 8 at one point in the second half. They force overtime. They win in overtime, 70-66 over Maryland. And Nebraska is now back to overall 500, 14-14, 7-10 in conference play. And it was the Derek Walker and Keisei Tominaga show once again. And Sam Hoiberg, who had a huge steal to effectively win the game for Nebraska, go up by 3. They held off the final possession. They win 70-66. But in that moment, Sam Hoiberg, again, it's Maryland's ball out of a timeout. Nebraska's up by 1 following a Sam Griesel awesome take to take the lead. And Hoiberg just, reads the pass inbound, steals it, and goes the distance for 2.
Jumped it.
Classic situation of being alert. He was ready for it, and then they were lazy. Maryland was the inbound.
It was super
pass.
lazy.
Super lazy.
Gosh.
They just kind of cool breezed it and that's what happens to you when you cool breeze.
Would you lose your mind if you were the Maryland coach? Right
that
now?
would be a tough one.
Kevin Willard.
You'd have a hard one on that one.
Yeah,
that would be a losing your mind. Yeah. But give him the credit. But there was a time earlier in the game we had to go back. So just so you guys know, so I ended up kind of rewinding the last 5 minutes through overtime.
You did?
Yeah. Well,
we watched it.
Yeah, because
that's preparation right there.
Well, that and also my middle daughter's boyfriend was on TV in the crowd. So we were trying to find that. That's what we were doing. And I realized that he came close to getting a steal earlier, about 5 minutes ago, off an inbounds pass.
He did. You're right.
And I wasn't really that didn't really register when it happened. But as I went back to do mindless work to try to find
that's what we do here.
That's what we do here. So we found that. So anyway, we did find Leighton was on what's that? He was in the I'd say it'd be the south end zone.
Okay.
We're at that.
Leighton.
Leighton was on there, south end zone.
Good job, Leighton.
He was all the guys with their shirts, all the fat guys with their shirts off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't one of those
guys. I was going to ask you, was he one of those guys?
But he was right in the middle of those guys. It's right where he was like that, which if he'd have been shirt off, that'd have been epic for the family.
Yeah, they kept showing one specific guy. They kept taking off his shirt in the student section, a large fella who was embracing being a large fella.
You're looking for Leighton. He's right in front of him.
But
in a hat.
It got the crowd. And Matt Rule even said that was one of his favorite things he saw. I think he was talking post-game. He said something about somebody saw him after the game and said, I love the guy in the student section going crazy.
Sam Hoiberg, 9 points, had 9 points in this game, 6 and 2 steals.
How about this, though? Keep it there. Sam Hoiberg off the bench, 37 minutes of playing time.
Isn't it interesting? I mean, we mentioned the other day that Maryland's a better looking team. And look at the guys Sam, they list him at 6 foot, doubtful. Probably 5'11", probably a little taller than Bill, or probably taller than Bill. Hours over Bill, probably. But
math is hard.
Nebraska's not nearly as good looking a team as Maryland. Maryland came off that Purdue win, and I thought they looked a little heavy-legged. That they're going to have to win this game despite. I thought they looked a little heavy-legged.
It was a rock fight on Sunday. It was ugly basketball for both teams for a lot of the game, right? Yeah. I mean, this game goes to overtime at 58 apiece. Yeah. Low scoring game.
Yeah. But
Nebraska at one point was 1 for 13 on threes in their home building.
Here's the deal, though. Here's the deal.
Terrible.
They were terrible. But they got it done. Yeah. That's what's amazing about the win.
I'll tell you what's amazing. This is getting lost in the.
That's why we're here.
This is what gets lost in the conversation. Nebraska's good right now. They are playing the caliber of an NCAA tournament team right now. They are. I mean, they found something. They're dangerous right now. They're going to beat Minnesota and Michigan State, and I would not be surprised if they go to Iowa and win it all. It wouldn't surprise me Jake, they beat them by 16.
Run it back, Josh.
They beat them by 16 the first time. Why would it be surprising? And what do they got to handle Walker and Tominaga?
Now, Iowa did lose by 20 points at Northwestern yesterday, so that's fair.
Why would it be unfair? Nebraska beat them by 16 the first time around.
Yeah, Nebraska.
I have to expect Nebraska to beat them this time around. They're going to win their last 3.
That'd put them at 17-14, and that'd be 10-10 in conference play.
They're dangerous right now. Point. They're legit dangerous. They're not a funny, cute little story anymore. They got Derek Walker, who you can't. Now, Maryland didn't do a great job against Walker, but here's the problem. It's hard to double him when he gets going downhill because Nebraska shooters.
He's a good passer is the thing. Derek has great vision. He's a good passer.
Right. So you would say, hey, why don't you just double him? And when he starts moving to the basket, get some help. Well, easier said than done. First of all, he's very good going left or right. He's a good passer, and Nebraska has shooters on the perimeter that it's hard to manage. It's hard to guard Nebraska in some instances. And you have Griesel doing his thing. If Wilcher and Tominaga, Tominaga's going to knock down shots. If Wilcher's knocking down shots, and then you have Griesel, they have weapons. They're sort of dangerous now.
Well, here's the deal about this game is that about halfway through the second half, Nebraska's trailing, and you have Griesel gets his fourth foul on a 3-point shot, which I think he barely even touched the
barely
guy.
touched him.
No, he touched him though.
Okay,
Jake.
But so that after that though, you go Jamarcus Lawrence who replaces him, and he gets banged up. He's hurt. So now
Walker's in foul trouble.
You got foul trouble. So Griesel's at 4. Lawrence is hurt. Now what's going to happen?
Well, what happened was
Nebraska.
What happened was Maryland went on a 24-6 run. I mean, that's what happened.
Maryland takes an 8-point lead. It looks very dire with the injury trouble, with the foul trouble. How are we going to win this game?
Right.
And they just chip away. If you get a couple, you get free throws by Tominaga down the stretch, which are big. Derek Walker hits some free throws also, and they just find a way to get to overtime, survive a last-second shot, which goes off the back iron, and here we go. Fresh 5-minute period there.
They made 19 of 25 free throws, which is the they've shot all year at the line. That was big. Fred, give him a lot of credit because when Walker and Griesel was out, he still managed the game well. And you knew if you were watching it closely, Nebraska stayed close enough, and you knew the way they were playing with Griesel and Walker that when they came back, Nebraska was going to be fine.
Yes.
As long as they kept it manageable, which they did. And so Fred did a great job, got him back in the game just when it was appropriate. And bam, they're trouble.
What's weird is that we were texting during the game, all of us, regarding Nebraska and not being big enough. Nebraska was out-rebounded by 1 in this game.
Yeah.
It felt like Maryland was getting all the boards, but Nebraska had 44 boards. Maryland had 45, so it was very even. And they had, Julian Reese, 16 points, 16 boards. He was an absolute hoss.
He was a bear
yesterday.
He was a bear.
But Nebraska was not out-rebounded like it felt like at times.
Who wasn't a bear? You know who wasn't a bear? Dante Scott.
2 for 16. Dante Scott was 2 for 16 for 5 points in 36 minutes of play.
He's a good player.
He was not yesterday.
He had a bad day. He is a very good player that had a bad day. See, here's the thing, Bill. Here's the thing. Maryland's an NCAA tournament team.
They are.
I kept getting texts from people saying, sip. Maryland's going to be a tough out in March Madness. So I'm like, well, they're getting beat. They're going to lose. Is Nebraska going to be a tough out in March Madness? If they're not going to make the NCAA tournament, probably. But what I'm suggesting is they are playing the caliber of basketball of an NCAA tournament team right now. Am I crazy?
Nebraska has the number 6 strength of schedule in the nation. Number 6. Now, last year, Michigan made the tournament with a 17-14 record with the number 4 strength of schedule in the nation.
This is a fascinating story because it may not even have happened if Gary and Vandemel didn't get hurt. Because then with Tominaga again scores 25th straight game. I mean, he's just the real deal now.
He can be where he's at now. Because his minutes, what's his minutes? What was
he
at?
He had the
most minutes, right?
43. He played 43 of 45 minutes.
Like there's no chance. He would have been in the 20s with everyone else still healthy. And then also probably on a short leash too, as far as like, hey, miss a couple, not quite on. I'm sure now he doesn't. If he misses one, he's not like, I'm not looking.
He wasn't hitting.
I'm not looking.
No,
but he wasn't looking to the sideline.
But he hit a big 3 to begin the overtime period. Goes up by 3.
Did.
And again, he had 4 massive free throws and end of regulation to even get the game tied up.
It wasn't. Yeah. All I'm saying is he was 7 for 17 overall and 2 for 6 from the 3-point line. He wasn't as normal. He didn't shoot the ball like as well as he has been normally, but he's still formidable. And he is once again, he did a lot of his damage from inside the arc.
But if you watch that game closely, when you watch Tominaga, they had Ian Martinez was on him like just a hound. Because he's saying you were not getting any space at all, and he still got 20 points.
Yeah, you're right.
Martinez fouls out with the charge, and then Tominaga didn't do anything after that still. But I mean, you could tell both those guys were tired.
They did good. They did
tired.
Yeah. Well, they again heavy-legged.
Kept chasing them.
They did a good job on Tominaga. They did a bad job on Walker. Now you give Walker a lot of credit. Downhill Derek is a bear because he uses both hands. You see what I'm saying? He's a bear that uses both paws,
Yeah.
both hands.
Wow.
I mean,
Quite
Bill
the
played
visual there.
basketball, so he understands it.
At a high level.
If you can go left, he's a right-hander. If he can go left, that makes him trouble. He's hard to guard when he gets downhill. He's fascinating. I mean, you'd think, okay, Julian Reese can handle him. Not really. He just goes right into guys. He uses his left shoulder really well. Uses his right hand and his right shoulder really well when he uses his left hand. Gets into the defender, and it's hard to stop. And he's really good putting the ball off the glass. He's got really good touch around the rim. Amazing player.
The one thing I was concerned about with him going to the hoop is that the charge potential, but he hasn't been getting a ton of those recently, which is great.
He gets on the edge. If you would have posted the number of from 3-point and said, did Nebraska win or lose? There's no way you would have said they won.
Good point.
Nebraska was 3 for 16 in this game.
And CJ, who
3 for 16,
CJ carried him big time for a good spell against Rutgers.
Yes, he did early on.
And this game,
shooting
he was
threes.
Yeah, in this game he had 4 points.
What's that tell you? Here's what it tells me. See, this is what it tells me. This is why I like this team. They are not 3-point shooting reliant.
No, they're not.
They're not, because they got downhill Derek. But also Tominaga is no longer just a 3-point threat. He's just a threat. You don't call him just a 3-point threat. He's just a threat now. They're not reliant on the three. They can beat you in a lot of ways. Am I going too overboard on this? I think they're a little scary right now.
Yeah, you wouldn't be real fired up about playing if you just
no.
The thing that shocked is it 4 in a row?
3 in a row they've won.
4 of the last 5, Bill.
4 of the last 5, 3 in a row. We have not moved up a spot.
No, they're still 12th in the Big Ten.
Have not moved up a spot. Now you're right there. And now one is because you have the wins you're tied at. You're one behind in the loss column.
That's correct.
But sometimes you think 4 out of 5 that we probably bypass someone right in the exact same spot.
Yeah,
now a lot can change these last 3 games.
Right. If they do win the next 3, get to 10-10, they could get as high as like 5th or 6th in the conference.
Yeah, they don't play again until Saturday, and I bet you Fred wishes that wasn't the case. I mean, you want to keep playing, right? You're on the heater.
Yeah, Minnesota
probably right now. Thursday game would probably be a good one. You'd like to let's go on Thursday to do that. But at the
not
same
till
time,
Saturday. They play Minnesota. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This depends on, like I said, how banged up they are in a few spots. So then you always want the time. You know, if you had because we had an ankle injury.
Oh, you're right. Now that's a good point.
Jamarcus
Lawrence came back in late.
He came. Oh yeah,
he came back in late.
Up his ankle. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, he came back in, and then Keita also.
Blaze also. He never came back.
He didn't.
I don't believe he came back from after the ankle.
Yeah, you're right about the injury.
He really rolled it.
Yeah,
if they show the replay, it's like, oh, that was real.
Keita against 8 rebounds. Nope, not one point, but he's
playing
tough
really well.
in the paint.
Oh,
man.
He's a bear.
Good defender.
Yeah. Well,
good
he draws charges better than anybody on the team. Yeah. Big man at draws.
Best positional defender is what Fred says. Is
that right?
Best fit. Yes.
Well, speaking of Fred, now you said earlier in the show, Sip, that you thought, okay, what happened if Gary and Vanderbilt were still playing? People thought the season was over when those guys were gone with injury. And Fred Hoiberg had a comment on that post game. Here's Fred Hoiberg on what can still be.
You know, I just, a lot of people were saying, when we had the injuries, what could have been, and my message to the guys is what can still be. And those guys fight like hell. They practice as hard as anybody, and they are resilient, and they do have some toughness and character to them. You'll steal some wins if you go out and play hard and compete every night, and that's what our guys are doing. So, yeah, we had a couple tough ones, obviously, right after the injury. I thought we were a little bit in mourning, to be honest with you. But, once we got one with this group, then they just kept fighting. I think they believe now that they can do it, and that's a big part of it. So just got to keep fighting, man. Keep fighting, clawing, swinging. We're going to have to win ugly, which at times it was tonight. But, again, this team has shown it can win in a lot of different ways. Offense was really pretty in the last game against Rutgers, not so much tonight. But, we found a way to get it done with toughness.
Fred joins us from Mars.
Yeah, that's rough.
Sorry. It's not like it was on a walk. That's right. Like Jake got the interview on a walkie-talkie.
Yeah,
looked like looked like 1976 walkie-talkie. Two kids.
I tried to make that
with the 9-volt battery that you put in the 9-volt battery, and then you go around the back of the garage. You'd be in the front of the garage. You just see if you get that. Or Sipple will take it. Hey, take this with you in case you're in the rhubarb patch. And you got to get you out of here.
Yeah, hide and seek over here.
Yeah, that was a nice job with the audio there.
Hey, you know what?
That was outstanding.
I'm not the one who recorded it. I took it from
this is like. It's like, really, Jake, do we not preview it? Or
I did preview. That's the best I could do.
The best you could do it. Literally,
the comments.
Excuse me,
the
Fred,
most
if you could. I know we have cable TV. We're going to hand you a walkie-talkie here, if we could, a G.I. Joe brand, and have you do this interview real quick.
I did preview it.
That was
It sounded
insanity.
better in my ear.
Like when? Like last
time.
night at midnight, or
5 minutes
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the show?
yeah,
Fine.
exactly, obviously.
Fine.
obviously.
From Mars.
Was that Fred?
Was you sure that was him? Are you sure that was him? One of the ball boys.
Actually, Marvin the Martian there.
Yeah. It was one of the ball boys like that. Fred couldn't make it, so we're going to have Tony. He's from Columbus.
Got any other?
That was
I got no more clips for it. I'm not playing anything else for it.
That was. It was like he's in a,
his comments were great.
He's
like
too
he's
damn
bad. The audio
like he's in a windstorm too. With
I'm not going to dispute their great comments because I don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, we have no one has any idea what was said. Just said. You know, it's like I heard the word fight and a couple things, and
he said the
what
offense
could
was
be
pretty against Rutgers. Not so much tonight. But we found a way to win.
So if we could get that, someone's listening, get the transcript of that. If you could type that out and text that into us, we'd love to know what Fred said. Yeah,
Fred's on Mars.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just
anyway. Also the women
into the mic.
Yeah. So Nebraska, the men.
All right.
I think they said about 15,000 at the men's game.
You were there.
Well, you were there.
was
Tell
there.
us about it.
Yeah. How was
What was the vibe?
So I didn't decide to go to the game until about 3:40.
Oh,
I was actually here at the station working. Yeah, I was working on a Sunday.
Oh, that people love that
Yeah.
grinding.
Grinding.
Grinder.
People always love when you tell them how hard
at
they work.
3:40 for a 4:00 game, I said I should probably go to the game.
Yeah.
I somehow found a parking spot like a block away from the arena.
Really?
I went and scalped a ticket, got a 100 level for like $25.
What
It was
a move.
Oh yeah,
So
it was a
you were
baller
solo?
move.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that.
I went by myself.
That's
But I
you
didn't
are a
know you
baller.
scalped. That's
scalped. I
that's
had no
badass.
ticket.
Total baller move. He went on his own.
Oh, that is bad.
Yeah,
That is-
$25.
Yeah.
Jake.
Lower bowl.
Yeah.
Jake.
StubHub won like $40 for the upper bowl. I said, hang on.
Yeah,
a second,
hang on.
hang
Time.
on
I'll
a
do a
second.
walk around.
Let me talk to the
let me do a
scalpers
lap
real quick.
What
me
did
do
I
a
tell you
lap.
about Jake?
Yeah.
Very comfortable in his skin.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. That's a baller move.
Now
Yeah.
cash. Here we go.
Yeah.
$30 or $25.
How
Thank
was
you
the
very much.
concession stand situation?
I had one beer, and I had to wait behind one person.
That's not bad at all. Then.
So I get in.
Was it anti-beer crowd? You think, or was
No,
it just?
that's a good question. Were people drinking that much yesterday? I didn't notice
4
that many
o'clock
beers.
4 o'clock tip.
That's
on
a good
Sunday.
time for a beer, actually.
Yeah.
4 o'clock. I had one. It was great, and I had a victory beer afterwards because you have to.
Yeah.
You should have a victory beer after a big win.
Before you
especially in
came home and
overtime.
cut up this audio,
Yeah.
Fred.
Yeah, that's why I was
on a
little sad.
walkie-talkie.
It sounds weird because I was obviously a different state
Okay.
of mind, apparently.
Okay.
Simple as a paper. You don't see the.
I like this.
The
This
hard.
is good. This
yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
The women, meanwhile, also played this weekend on Saturday and drew 14,289. That's the most ever for a women's home game in the 49 seasons of the program. I'm reading the Journal Star. And the 9th largest in the sport this season. Now Iowa did win. That's 7th ranked Iowa, Bill and Jake. Jake knows this stuff. Iowa wins 80-60.
And that was the 7th straight game that Caitlin Clark, the superstar for Iowa, has scored 30-plus points against Nebraska. She had 30 on the dot.
She's fun to watch.
She's great. She's so good.
She's fun
What
to
is
watch.
it about
It's
her,
not
by
just
the way?
shooting. I mean, she's a great
Everything.
passer. She's an exceptional dribbler. Everything.
The last 2 years, her numbers with the assist, rebounds, scoring. So obviously Amy had her hands full on defending.
Yeah, Amy's.
defending her.
I know Amy a little bit. She's not gonna be happy about Nebraska's defense. They just gave up 95 to Minnesota, and then allowed Iowa to come into their lair. Nebraska allowed Iowa to come into its lair and shoot 54% from the floor, and I think 50%, 10 of 20 from the 3-point range. You can't, Amy. I guarantee you that pisses her off. Excuse my language. I mean, you can't allow that opponent to come into your home court and shoot over 50%. I was good though.
Well, I was really good team.
Well,
and
they're
they
center.
played really good
We're
basketball.
7th in the
too.
country, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're really good.
They're good.
Yeah.
they're
No, I follow it because I had a great Amy story at that. Just randomly, we had an event in the West Stadium. That's when I was back when I had a job. You love to throw the zinger at me.
I mean that.
Yeah, I don't have.
No,
I don't.
Can you believe
You
this?
said
guy?
it meant your bank.
Oh, wait, that was when you were working there. Oh, okay. All right. We got it. I know.
That was not it.
Yeah, it's
Remember
okay.
that, Bill?
It's okay. Remember that? That was fun.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm
insurance,
Jake,
right?
Hey,
Yeah.
hold on. Hold on. Bill, Jake
Anyway.
knows. No, hold on. Just hold on. Jake knows that we can't talk like everybody knows who we are. There's some guy driving through from Albuquerque right now who has not the biggest idea who you are. So I just say
think that the probably should say that way. Almost like I doubt that would interest him at any point in time. I doubt he's like, listen to this. But we all sat at a table. It was a little function thing we had, and I sat right next to Amy, and it was intriguing, really intriguing to sit and talk to her. Just you could just tell, right? I walked out of there. I remember I texted my wife. I go, I just sat with the head basketball coach. I said, wow. I said she was. I mean, you could just tell. And I asked her a lot of. I asked her a lot of like tough questions, like how do you handle this? How do you do this? What are you doing with this? All those things. And she was like, boom, boom, boom. And I mean, you just left. Sometimes you just leave the room. It's kind of like you go, wow, that person in the room is really impressive. She was so impressive with what she did and what she's done with her career, from how she started here at Nebraska, with her career as a walk-on, earning a scholarship, the great success she's had before she got to Nebraska. It's just pretty incredible. Yep, they didn't play great defense the last couple games right there, but I guarantee you one thing: it's not like guys, gals, the defense, we're gonna get better at that. Let's work on it. Maybe talk about that. No, it's being worked on.
Oh yeah,
it's not one of those things where it's like,
she's a defensive-minded.
Absolutely, she's all about toughness. So
exactly.
So in the building, it's getting worked on.
Yes. Anyway, that was a tremendous scene. I imagine.
Great crowd. Unfortunate result for Nebraska, but awesome environment there.
There you go.
Caitlin Clark, 30 points again. 7th straight time against Nebraska, she's had 30-plus points. Wow. She likes playing Nebraska.
You know what they say is Iowa, every road game, add 2,000-plus fans right now. For their road crowds are up 2,000. Now, Nebraska's was up 9,000 over its average. But when you're looking at me like I'm crazy, but I just read it in the Lincoln Journal-Star.
No crazy look in my face, Bill.
Yeah. Hold
crazy
on.
Look.
Yeah. There's no crazy.
No.
This year, when this is,
I think everyone followed the gist.
I was very.
There. This is Brent Wagner, his paragraph. This year, when Iowa goes on the road in the Big Ten, crowds go up by at least 2,000.
The Caitlin Clark factor.
Is that what that is?
Yes, it is.
Contender for national.
She's one of the best players in all of college.
Can you
basketball.
imagine what she'll be like in the WNBA?
I have to imagine it because I've never watched the WNBA.
There it is.
Well, I mean, I'm Jake.
That's fine. Yeah.
Was that inappropriate?
No, but you just it's fine.
I'd have to imagine it.
I've watched. Absolutely.
Yep. Name 5 teams.
That's something for a different time.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with whether I watched or not. That's zero.
Bill's not good at trivia. We've gone through this before.
Yeah.
This is not the game show here.
Can name 3.
Sparks.
Yeah,
Lynx.
Lynx is the one I was going to go with. Right away.
Lynx? Where they play?
That's Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sky.
The Comets, Houston Comets, right?
Yeah.
Wolves.
Yeah.
There's no Wolves.
That's the NBA.
Wolves.
That's NBA.
Yeah. You're just
so just the fact that you have no interest in the NBA and we do. I'm starting to try to beat us down. I don't understand.
I'm not.
I don't understand that whatsoever.
I don't
understand that whatsoever.
Trying to beat somebody down.
I'm talking about how good she will be like that, and we'll have players in the WNBA. It's a great opportunity, and you're like, yeah, that's dumb. So go ahead, Texers. all female Texers, fire in. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Sipple thinks
what? I just said I don't watch it. Can't I say that? Is that inappropriate?
You don't have to watch anything.
That's somehow inappropriate.
I'm sure someone will take it that way.
Oh, for God's sake.
I was fine with it. Hey, by the way, wrestling wins their 5th straight match. They beat
huge win.
Arizona State 25-15.
Huge win. The Pac-12 dominant wrestling program. Arizona State
25-15 yesterday. A 5th straight win for Nebraska.
Thank you, Jake.
Yes.
We'll get to baseball later.
Yeah, baseball was not in the good news this weekend.
We'll get to that later.
We will.